Netflix's early originals were meant to shock the system, with the platform taking risks on shows that wouldn't make it past censors or find an invested audience on network TV, including one hit that utilized massive star power to create a legendary series. With the streaming platform investing early in a series that leveraged star power from actors who had built decades-long careers, Netflix quickly found its footing with Grace and Frankie, a show that broke the rules when it came to what TV was supposed to look like. What started as a long shot turned into a 7-season hit. Starring longtime friends and collaborators Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, Grace and Frankie premiered in 2015 and became one of the streaming platform's most successful shows. Following two women in their 70s as they navigated a messy divorce, the series took a look at a demographic that is rarely explored in depth on screen. By breaking the mold when it came to the stars of the show, Grace and Frankie explored aging, reinvention, and independence in ways that sharply diverge from the average TV series. With stories that told the truth, even at its toughest, the show was bold and brave. Rather than positioning itself as a show that explored the years leading toward the end of life as a dreary decline or a farce at its core, Grace and Frankie grounded itself in a place of honesty that ensured its place in Netflix history and TV history alike. Grace and Frankie started a trend of stories focusing on older main characters. The storytelling on Grace and Frankie was meant to differ from that of standard network TV, bringing new layers to what TV could do on a platform like Netflix. The series followed as Grace Hansen, Fonda, and Frankie Bergstein, Tomlin, find themselves rebuilding their lives after their husbands, Robert, Martin Sheen, and Soul, Sam Waterston, decide to come out about their longtime business partnership turned romance. Seeing Grace and Frankie, who have never been fond of one another, build their own friendship on the brink of personal pain in their golden years reinvigorates the women as they explore new avenues. Rather than focusing on the women flashing back to their younger years, lamenting on their dissolving relationships, or quietly fading into their quiet lives, Grace and Frankie sees its title characters breaking into new parts of their lives. Choosing to invest in themselves, their passions, and their families, Grace and Frankie rebuild themselves in their golden years and prove that their lives are far from over throughout the show's run. The series benefited from the reputation of its leads, Fonda and Tomlin, who brought credibility and experience to the series, but also reinforced the show's messaging by playing their age. Grace and Frankie is worth sticking with after a lukewarm season 1. Although the first season of Grace and Frankie is often seen as its weakest point, Netflix continued to invest in the series after a lukewarm first outing. Critical reception of Grace and Frankie's first season wasn't great, and while it wasn't the worst it could have been, the series was heavily supported by viewers rather than reviewers as it got its start. While the show eventually grew in its rating on Rotten Tomatoes, Grace and Frankie's first season sat at only 57%. As the series continued, critics caught up to what viewers were seeing and the show ultimately balanced out. While later seasons of Grace and Frankie had finally solidified its identity, the show started building its audience quickly after its start. The star power, subject material, and strong sentimentality of the series made it one of Netflix's best throughout its 7-season run. While the show had some bumps in the road overall, Grace and Frankie is a one-of-a-kind series that deserves its flowers, even years after its final episode.